pan out as we planned. In that front, a couple of drivers got themselves caught up for the first heat. But on the front row will be Catherine Potter in pole position in that number 20. Takes the early spoils in our cadet class, and she seeks a championship here at Teesside in the number 20. Alongside her on the front row will be the number 22 of Jared Fox-Whiteley. To have a look down the field as well, keep an eye on the chargy of the number 23, Charlie Wyatt, who had a fairly difficult heat number 1 and will look to come through the field. So the front row roll themselves forward to take up position on the inside. It is Catherine Potter with Jared Fox-Whiteley alongside. Row number 2, Ethan Girling on the inside of the number 50 of Lizzie Mentier. Row number 3, an all-female affair of Gracie Mitchell and Isabella Stansmore-Wilson in the number 88. Row number 4 is the 16 of David Mack and the 18 of Max Shields. Then we're going to have Thomas Potter and Kian McLeod with Jack Thompson and Oliver Watson. Then we've got the 23 of Charlie Wyatt and the 42 of Leon Barlow. The 87 is William Howard. And we're going to have Josh Cooke. I think we just need to roll Cody Lamb into position. And we've got Ethan Charles and we've got William Robinson back there as well. We're going to be underway and racing very shortly in our cadet class. Start line marshal makes his way to the front. Everybody's in position. Looks like everybody at the front is sporting their wet tyres still. Green flag is down and we're underway, and it's another great start by the 22 of Fox-Whiteley off the outside. Is he going to have the confidence to stick it out right the way round the outside of Catherine Potter? I think he is. And is he going to slot in, or is he going to have to back out? He doesn't. Potter holds firm and leads the opening few corners. Fox-Whiteley and everybody else files their way in, but we've got some contact. The 87 of Holden and the 42 of Barlow at hairpin number 1. They sorted themselves out though without the need of some marshal assistance, but somebody came in there at a fair rate of knots and skittled the few in front of them, and that has spread out the back end of the cadet field. The circuit though continues to dry as everybody's out on wets. I think potentially this will be the last time we see a wet tyre today. Certainly dry, looks dry from the perch of the commentary box as Gracie Mitchell comes through from the 3rd row into 3rd place. It's Potter, Fox-Whiteley, Mitchell, Mentier, Max, Stansmore, Wilson, Maximus Shields, Charlie Wyatt up from outside the top 10 into 8th. Ethan Girling, Kian McLeod round out that top 10. Then we've got Thomas Potter, Jack Thompson, Ed, Oliver Watson, Ethan Charles, William Howard, Leon Barlow, Tom Holden, Josh Cooke and Cody Lamb as Charlie Wyatt and Ethan Girling. Girling goes to the inside of Wyatt for 8th place, gets the job done on their way into South Bank, although Wyatt will return that favour by the time they get to hairpin number 3. Out in front though, the top 3 look to have broken away, although there is a fair gap between all of them, and it's a similar gap as they come through. David Mack in 5th, the closest to any of them, and it's Lizzie Mentier in the 50 in front. Battle they're down for 8th, down to 12th is quite intense as well, with Charlie Wyatt at the head of that one. 5 carts coming through with Kian McLeod and Oliver Potter wedged in the middle, with Ethan Girling getting it slightly sideways into hairpin number 2. Let's see whether Thomas Potter does get a run to the inside of him. He does. Thomas Potter in the number 38 with the green helmet. Goes to the inside. Holden's going to try and throw it all the way around the outside, but I don't think it's going to work in the same way that it did earlier on in the wet conditions. It doesn't, and the move is done by Thomas Potter, so he moves up into 9th place. Charlie Wyatt, though, is going to try and run him to the inside, and Potter has to back out, and that's allowed Girling to get back through Charlie Wyatt coming under increasing pressure from those behind him, and he's backing the pack up, certainly allowing those out in front to move away, and it's bringing Oliver Watson in the 33 into play. So it's a 6-kart battle now for 8th place. Thomas Potter's going to try to go round the outside, and then he cuts back to the inside of Ethan Girling down the back straight. They're going to go side by side. Can't get the move done though, and slots back in, makes one final dart to the inside, to the south bank. Tries to cut all the way down the inside. Holden's going to try and run it all the way around the outside, as he did the previous time. There's a little bit of contact on the inside of hairpin 3. Holden this time, though, is the winner of that battle. Behind them, all over the back of them, is Oliver Watson. He's closing in on the back of the 37 of Jack Thompson. So it's 6 karts battling over 8th place. The front 2 have broken away slightly, although Charlie Wyatt does continue to back Ethan Girling into Cian McLeod in the 54. Out at the front though, half race distance has gone, and it's Catherine Potter with a clear advantage from Gracie Mitchell, who's now moved up into 2nd place from Jared Fox-Whiteley. Lizzie Mentier in 4th, David Mack 5th, Isabella Stansmore-Wilson remains in 6th, with Max Shields in a fairly lonely 7th at the moment, as the battle behind him is where the action's at. Charlie Wyatt gives up 8th place once again to Ethan Girling. Cian McLeod although Jack Thompson is there, Thomas Potter and Oliver Watson have dropped away from the back, so there's only 4 karts battling now for 8th place. Ethan Girling, now he's got past Charlie Wyatt, moves away at the head, and Charlie Wyatt now will try and back Cian McLeod up to Jack Thompson, who's going to come to the inside. McLeod's got a good run out of that final corner. Will he try to go to the inside by the time they get to South Bank? Can't get it done. Charlie Wyatt closing the door. Runs wide though, and Cian McLeod dives to the inside of hairpin number 3. Pushed through as well by the 37 of Jack Thompson. Does come back down the inside though for hairpin number 4. Although Charlie Wyatt looks to be struggling out of corners, getting the power down. Comes into the pits, peels off. Could have kept going for I think in 8th place, unless that problem's terminal for the driver of the number 23, but he gives up 9th place and what would have been a fair handful of points in his early quest for the championship, but peels away. And Charlie Wyatt in the number 23 with 1.5 laps remaining retires from heat number 2 in our cadet class. The last lap board is out for some of our drivers. And there it is. Catherine Potter comes over to see the last lap board, and in doing so sets the fastest lap of the race with a 50.518. So it's Potter from Mitchell, Fox, Whiteley, Mentier, Max, Stansmore, Wilson, Max Shields, Ethan Girling, Cian McLeod and Jack Thompson. Then we've got Charlie Wyatt, who peeled off into the pits from 11th, so he'll drop down as everybody else comes over the line. It's Oliver Watson, Leon Barlow, Thomas Potter, Ethan Charles, Tom Holden, Howard George William will come through, as will Cody Lamb and Josh Cooke when they come over the line. So the first one over with the 27 of Howard George. The next one over will be our winner of heat number 2. Catherine Potter makes it 2 from 2. Then we're going to have Jared Fox-Whiteley, Lizzie Mentier and Gracie Mitchell drops down to 4th on the final lap. So a top 3 of Catherine Potter, Jared Fox-Whiteley, Lizzie Mentier. Then we have Gracie Mitchell, David Mack, Isabella Stansmore-Wilson, Maximus Shields, Ethan Girling, Cian McLeod, Jack Thomas round out the top 10. Oliver Watson, Leon Barlow. Thomas Potter will come through to take the checker in 13th. Ethan Charles will be 14th. Then we have Tom Holden in the 87. That brings a close, I believe, barring a final couple of drivers over the line. The final one to come over is the 27. The final driver on the lead lap George Howard comes over. Three more races of the morning action before we take a short break for lunch. Allow everybody to catch their breath and get themselves ready for an afternoon of 12 more races with heats and then on to the finals for each of our classes here at Teesside Karting for the opening round of the NRG Cycles Owner Sprint Series. If you are at the circuit and you're in the market for some lunch for a very reasonable £5.50, you can get yourself a Sunday dinner up in the cafe. So feel free to make your way up there. If you are watching at home though, please do stick around during the interval. We'll try and get some of our drivers up to the commentary box, and we'll try and bring some interviews for our drivers to you throughout that lunch break interval. In fact, if the sun stays out, I might even go and conduct them up on the up on the bank, just to see what the weather conditions are out there, ready for this afternoon's action. So cadets are, the final few are just getting up and over the weighbridge. Once they're over there,